Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to, well, first of all, Happy New Year. We are thrilled to be kicking off the year with our first presentation in our series for digital literacy curricula. This one in particular will be selecting the curricula that fits learners' needs. We are We are again excited to be working through this. It's one of the projects that we're working hard on and aligning different resources. This is the first one. We have subsequent ones for Dart, North Star, and Google every week until we cover all of them. And with that, we want to go over some housekeeping rules before we begin. Well, my name is Jose Adorno. I'm the Digital ATDN Coordinator, and we're accompanied by Mary Kate Haverly, our Digital ATDN Specialist. So we are here to serve you and support you in anything that you need. As for our housekeeping items, we're first going to go over quickly what is ATDN and Digital ATDN. Uh, ATDN stands for Adult Training and Development Network. And we are services funded by the Connecticut State Department of Education, the Academic Office, to provide training opportunities and resources for adult education programs across the state. Also, it's the home for to professional development and comprehensive in-person and online training for adult education professionals in numerous areas across the state. There's both websites for ATDN and Digital ATDN. This presentation is under Digital ATDN, which we do digital literacy instruction, support, implementation, you name it. We also provide tech sessions too, so we'll go over that at the end of the session. If you have any questions throughout the presentation, feel free to put it in the chat as they come up. I will be pausing from periodically to answer any questions. So just make sure to nest them there, and we'll go over them as they go. Okay. Hope you enjoyed the session. So in for our agenda, in today's session, we will identify the problem this approach addresses. We're going to understand the Bridges framework. We're going to examine curriculum alignment. We're going to reflect on gaps and learner supports, and we're going to explore curriculum-based activities. In order for us to talk about digital literacy, we want to do a quick reference to visualizing digital literacy as a circle. This circle is going to encompass all of the possible digital literacy skills that someone could learn, but it's not just about digital literacy skills, it's also about digital resilience. To put this a little bit more into context, and you could put it in the chat if this has ever happened to you, how many of you have updated your phones or updated a program? We have been using phones and we be very well versed. We understand our device. But once an update happens or we're updating a program, all of a sudden we can't find something that we have been doing for years. Does that mean that we're less digital literate? Not necessarily, right? There's something that kicks in within us, which is the resilience piece of it. We start to wonder, okay, if I used to do this, it could be it could be under settings, there could be a new menu, there may be a new category, and you start thinking about how you could find that feature that you used to use previously. Sometimes they take features away, and then at that point we get really sad. And other times we just Google it, right? And we take a look and see how do we actually find our way through adapting to this new version or this new technology. And that's the importance between just knowing the digital literacy skill, but also building on that resilience to adapt as technology changes. Here we see what we were just talking about on the right with the digital literacy skills. And I don't know if it's mirrored, so it might be pointing the wrong side of the screen. But the other side, we're going to have our learners. So we have learners that come in and they're excellent in using their phone, very tech savvy, but have little experience with PCs. You have learners that could be very proficient and even know more than the person that's actually providing the instruction, but they have language barriers. And you have learners that don't have that experience or access to the technology to be able to build these skills. With all those factors in mind, we need to ask ourselves, how do we build digital literacy and resilience when learners are all in different places at the same time? And for those that have known me throughout the years, you guys know that I love analogies. So in this case, I am going to use an onion. And we're going to peel this onion into 3 layers. Now, I'm going to give you 30 seconds. So I want to give you a chance to think about what would be the first layer. You can put it in the chat. I'll just give it about 30 seconds. And after that, I'll click next. What do you think is the first layer in digital literacy instruction? We're going to look from top and we're going to go scaffolding down to bottom. So it'll be like the first thing that you would see. I'll do a drum roll, but I don't know if it'll give too much feedback. Knowing how to operate a device. There'll be an example under that layer. Yeah. Keyboard skills. Turn on and parts of a computer, defining digital literacy. Ah, nice. That was something that I wanted to add that's going to be in the slide. You're going to have a definition of digital literacy, and we're going to have one for digital resilience for that context. So here we go. Our first layer, frameworks. So frameworks define what proficiency looks like. They show us the skill in action. So we're looking at knowing how to operate a device, turn on and off parts of a computer. All these different things are different, what we would know as standards or skills that we're trying to have our learners be able to achieve. So having an understanding what the end goal is. However, frameworks just tell you those end goals. How do you teach this skill? This is going to be second question here. So we have the framework, gives us all the standards of what it will look like. How do we teach this skill? And again, I'm going to use the chat and model, live examples and practice. And give it one couple more seconds to see one more pops in before I change. Okay, here I go. Can you give an example of a skill? I will in a second, right? Um, Great question. So, oh, wait. Oh, I think it's double. Sorry. Here we go. Ta-da! Layer 2, curriculum. So curriculum is the roadmap. It's going to show how learners move from where they are as they learn how to apply the skill until they are able to demonstrate, be proficient in that skill. So a lot of what you guys are sharing is kind of that practice and that is where that instruction is actually happening. If we're going to look at into applying this into actual skill, we're looking at a framework, the framework level, we'll think about sending and receiving an email. That skill, that's the standard. But when we're looking into curriculum, then it would be how the learner will go on a website, enter the address, go onto said website, have a username in the password, or create the account, be able to log in, how to open the email, how to type in the header, type in the address, add an attachment if there's an attachment involved, and be able to send the email. with that, what happens when a curricula lesson is not aligned to the level of support that our learners need? So, as intentionally so, I said, go to the page, like open a page, but there's other steps before that. What would be that third layer that we would refer to um, in order to support our learners? Assessment. Okay. Lessons. Can you give it 5 more seconds? Make sure they have the equipment needed. Very important. Yes. Um, so here we're labeling this open educational resources for the effect of our digital literacy curriculum, but you could also see the resemblance between supplemental resources. This is all of these resources that we use to support our learners where there are existing gaps based on what they're currently working on the lesson. So we have a good curriculum, we have a lesson that we're working on, they need additional support. You need to find that supplemental resource to that really targets what they're working on. And in this instance, we're being specific to open educational resources because we're looking at the free options that we already have available across this alignment. However, you have a textbook, if you have a paid curricula that you're using that have additional supports, then that would be that equivalent of. Oh, no worries. Welcome. Now, we talked about all of these, but realistically, how does this look like in the classroom? It's going to be something like this present representation here, right? We have our main curricula. Our curriculum is going to be aligned to a framework. Sometimes it's partially aligned to a framework. And then all these OERs or the supplemental resources is going to be our supports. This could be a resource that you really like to use in the classroom that just speaks to your learners, that aligns to your learners. We could use them to onboard to a curriculum. Sometimes it's totally separate. Sometimes it just aligns to a framework. Or in this instance, it could bridge between the curriculum and something a little bit more in depth from the framework. Any questions before we continue? Let's see. Okay. So now I have questions for you. There'll be 2 questions here. We're going to call this the experience check. A Zoom poll will pop up. Let me make sure that it's all set to run. It's going to be 2 questions. So the first question is, what resource do you find more useful or referred to the most? This is just your experience in your practice with supporting your students. Is it a framework? Is it a curriculum? Or is it supplemental resources? You're only able to pick one. Again, this is what matters to you or you find more useful. If you not want another approach, where have your learners benefited the most from? I haven't done open questions here before, so I'm not sure how this will look like. So okay, perfect. Yes, the framework is going to be like the set of standards that you're working with. Sometimes there's reports and studies and all these kind of things, but you're really looking at the standards. These are your goals that you're trying to aim. And then the curriculum is going to help you build or develop that digital learning skill that you're standard that you're aiming for. And we are going over this as a almost overview because where we want to spend the time is on the actual alignment. This is just going to give you some of that background context. Okay, I'm gonna stop the. Gonna give you like 5 more seconds. There's someone that I can't see the response. It's just to say that there's someone submitting a response. Okay, here I go. Oops. 1 second. Let me close these. Okay, so what resource do you find more useful or refer to the most? We have three that selected supplemental resources, and then there's a tie with framework and curriculum. Interesting. I can't see the responses. I haven't done this before, so I might, what I'll do is I'll probably share this out after as the reasoning. Mm, 1 second. Let's see if I could see the why. Okay, I can't see the poll. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So no, I didn't know. Okay. So thank you everyone for sharing. If you would like to share out what you said as to why you can, um, unfortunately it doesn't show here the responses and it's throwing me to like the main site, so I can't really share the why. But I appreciate everyone participating in the assessment. And I wanted to say that the OERs were the most convenient. There's always every time I speak to teachers and different staff that work with learners, they always have a go-to resource that's not necessarily part of what they need to cover, but it just speaks to their learners, and they always share those resources. Those are like the gold gems. I appreciate it. Okay, so here we go. So here's a comment. I like using Burlington English as our curriculum because it offers so much. Yes, and then you have in this instance you have that um, applied skills, which more than just learning digital literacy. You're kind of learning digital literacy and English at the same time. Thank you. So originally we have our circle, and we won't go over much what this represents and means in depth. We have a different way that we're going to show you today. If anything sparks your interest and you're interested in finding out more, just reach out to us. We'll share our details at the end. We're more than happy to share how we got this and all and show you different ways that you can look through things and all that. So again, yes, if it spikes your interest, just know that we're here to support. So, we're going to be structuring digital literacy. And to provide the structure to the alignment, we selected a shared digital literacy framework, which we're going to go over in the next slide. We organized the skills before the resources were applied. And we created a consistent foundation for instruction. Very important because we wanted to make sure that anyone that is able to access this can find a support or a resource that could support their learners without the need to figure out how do would they access or where to look for. So we wanted to have it aligned in a way. If you're looking at communication, for example, you find different resources other than the curriculum that you're using to find those supports. And the framework that we used is the Bridges Digital Resilience Framework. I would like to, if you put in the chat if you're familiar with that framework or not. This what it we used to call this the Seattle Digital Equity Initiative, which was SDEI. Um, so if you are familiar or not familiar, you could put it in the chat. Just interested to see. Not by name? Okay. Um, thank you. So the framework was developed by World Education through their CrowdEd initiative and at Tech Center. Pretty much they've taken they did this research between this was a different not World Ed, it's a different was in Seattle and Washington. They did a research between different frameworks and curricula. They looked at all of the skills that they covered and they kind of made this 10 domain with different skills within each one, which is what we saw on the previous slide. And the best thing out of this was that it's a plain language. So, sending and receiving an email, I don't know if it's word by word the standard, but that would be a standard. So it's giving you what does it look like without going in detail as to like the level of complexity that skill demands. Yes, correct. Yes, I referred to this before. The digital literacy skills is another place where all the alignment comes in. We'll look into that as well. So, for if you're interested in finding out more, we included lists, three resources to look into. The first one is the actual toolkit, the framework document that you could access. They have a new interactive mode where you could just click and see everything kind of break down and everything aligned to it. Um, there's also the digital skills set for diverse users. This is that report that I was referring to, where you see the frameworks and the curriculum breakdown of everything that they analyzed and how they put that all together. I find it interesting, but I'm very data background person. So for me, it's very interesting. But you can skim through it and they have like a short version that you can look at if you're interested. And then we also have here the harnessing the power of the Bridges Digital Resilience Toolkit. This was a presentation from Jeff Gumas that he did for us. I want to say Digital Learning Day. You could click there. It's going to take you to our website, and there's the presentation and the slides and the recording there as well. And then he goes in depth into what Bridges is, how they got all that together, how do you navigate the website, and all that. That's the framework side of it. But now that we selected a framework and we are referring to the 10 domains, we need to start looking at the roadmap. And to do that, we selected three curricula that meets the needs of our adult education population. We focused the alignment to happen at a digital skill level. So we're looking at the standards from Bridges and did the alignment. And then we mapped the standards, the lessons, and the resources to Bridges. This allowed us to create a digital literacy spectrum where it shows how the curriculum aligns across the different levels of digital literacy. We're going to see this in context. It's going to be very easy to follow. Um, so it spans curricula from beginner to advanced. So going from beginner here, moving to advanced. It takes consideration the factors that we mentioned at the beginning, which is the language, what are the skills, the context of it, and other factors for placement. And then it supports progression across learner needs. So if a student starts here and they need to go back because it's too advanced, we support that, as well as if they're in the beginning and they're progressing towards, to more advanced skills, and they could go towards the right as well. If there's any questions, again, feel free to put them in the chat. I am more than happy to pause. Um, and then we'll see everything in context within the curricular options that we have available. On the next slide, what we're going to present the curricula items as how we did them organically through the years in digital ATN. The first curriculum that we brought over was Google Applied Digital Skills. And this is on our higher end of the digital literacy spectrum. It offered project-based, real-world scenarios, and it emphasizes on creating and applying digital tools. It wasn't just, okay, here's how you use Excel, but it will go out to, okay, you could use Excel to do a party, or here's how you could use Excel to organize an inventory. And it just gives you, it started to give you more intentional use of technology, which is usually what our learners I'm learning this. Why do I need to learn this? What is the benefit? Google Applied Digital Skills is excellent for that. What we ran into the issue at the time is that it was designed for higher level skill application. They needed to know a little bit about the computer. They needed to know how to get access to that website. And there's creative ways how you could make it more accessible for lower skilled, but there was a lot of need to build some of that foundation digital literacy skill before they were able to apply. That brings us to North Star. North Star, this is our third, I want to say this is our third year with the statewide license with North Star. It's available for all agencies that opted in at the beginning of, it always happens like at the beginning of the school year. And North Star just sits right here in the middle. It includes assessments, it allows for reports, and interactive simulations. So when you're working on the modules, you get to see I'm trying to figure out what's the word. You get to see like a simulation of a desktop, and then you could click on the menu and it'll actually interact like it's an actual menu, and you try to open a page and it'll open a page. But all this is simulation based, so it's very safe for them to use. The assessments are aligned very well with the modules, and it gives you the reports because all of that is tied into the standards that they support, that they include. Um, and they go very basic as to, left click and right click are standards for basic computer skills. And then they go into more advanced into, how to know that a website is safe and those kind of things. Um, oh, that's Yes, in the certificates, right? Both Google and Northstar has certificates that you could earn. And it's like an incentive for earners for like, okay, I completed this, my skill, these are the skills that I know how to do, and this is like proof of it. The challenge with Northstar that we've worked on, and we could scaffold down a little bit, is that it required foundational reading skills. They have a recommendation of 211 in their CASAS reading score to be able to meet that, to be able to work with North Star. So it kind of wasn't accessible for our lower language learning students. And with that, it brings us to the far left of the curriculum, which is DART. DART is our entry point on the digital literacy spectrum. This curriculum was designed for pre-beginner ESLs learners. It uses ESL strategies to build on digital literacy. It has recommendations on how do you implement it even before you use technology. And then it supports foundational digital literacy practice. It's also like an onboarding for North Star as well. How do we get the free Google certificates? Yes. So for certificates in Google, when you're into the teacher resources, there is a certificate that you will download. You kind of manually do that for them. Um, I think it was manually do them for them. Mary Kate might correct me. Um, I haven't done those in a while,
Yep,
but I go ahead. Sorry.
that's correct. I'll put an example in the chat, but
Okay.
it is in the teacher resources. Usually it's on the very last page, but I'll go look just to make sure they're still there because that changed. So I'll go look and put it in the chat.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, with North Star, they have assessments that you take and they have to be proctored in order to get like the certificate. And then that's issued through the system itself. And you could get a digital badge as well that you could just post on LinkedIn and other things. So there's like a lot more um, kind of like system based. There's like a percentage of how you much you got and that kind of thing. Now, we're at the point we're going to see this live, right? So looking into this, right? This is our digital literacy curriculum page. This is how all our pages look like. I like them because they look like documents. So each curriculum page includes an overview of the curriculum, just a couple points just to get you an idea. There's a bridges alignment with supporting skills, where are these little um, options here. I want to call them capsules. But these little buttons, and also there's recommendations of where to begin when working with beginner, experienced, and proficient digital literacy learners. Well, again, referring again to that spectrum that we were talking about. Before I click in and show you live, our live demonstration, is there any questions? Or are there any questions? My bad. Thank you, Mary Kate. Mary Kate posted in the chat the example to of the I think it's a certificate. I'm clicking on it. This is an example lesson. I will say right now that Google Applied Digital Skills has its presentation at the beginning of February. We have Dart coming up next week, and then North Star the week after that. We're gonna give it a spin of how it aligns to the framework and that kind of thing. So if there's any of those interests you, I more than recommend to. We'll share in the chat to register at the end. Oh, and the certificate. Here we go. So this is an example of the certificate in Google. In Northstar, you do need an account. So then when you're getting it, it just pulls up your name from it and you could get it. Um, and then it's issued automatically uh, for the learner to access. Okay, so here we go. This is too small. Let me see if I could update a little bit more. Okay. So this is our digital literacy curricula page. I'm going to go from home to show you where you can actually access it. You'll go here to content areas, and then you go to digital literacy curricula under content areas. When you go here, we have an introduction of what the curricula is, kind of a little bit of the context of what we did and kind of that alignment. We have the spectrum here. This link, I won't go into this link for today, but if you're looking at building curricula or you want to do like certain lessons from different areas, it would be a good way to build a custom almost checklist of what you want to cover or what skills that you want to focus on. This is on an Excel spreadsheet on the Google spreadsheet. But again, it just gives you it aligns the different standards from what's available to the different lessons and all that. And then you could kind of customize what you want. Um, yes, 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 yes. Let me click here. I'm posting this in the chat right now. Oh, 1 second. My keyboard is asleep, so I just did the shortcut and nothing happened. There you go. So that's the link to our website, to the digital literacy curriculum. Again, that link is here. If you want to explore this further, reach out to us. We are very happy to sit down and talk to you about it and just show you the ropes and how you can navigate and all that. But right now, we're looking at this under the curricula view. So we have DART curriculum, North Star Digital Literacy, and Google Applied Digital Skills. For context, and because, of course, we have a statewide license right now, we're going to go over through North Star because it's right down the middle, and then we'll show you how it looks like. And we'll talk about like what curriculum should you start with um, in a bit. So here we're looking at North Star. We have the link to the curriculum, which is going to take you to the North Star page. You have a what is it, why is it worth considering, and a couple of pieces of information. Again, why is the curriculum, who is this? This curriculum is great for, and it gives you a few options. And then this here is the alignment. The North Star is the one is out of the three, North Star does target all 10 domains. So you'll see all 10 domains here. Dart has less than 10. I want to give you a number to give you the wrong number. And then Google has less than 10. So you will only see what is aligned under that specific alignment. Um, so in this case, if we're going to communication, as you can see, communication is exchanging information with others on digital platforms using various strategies to collaborate, share, and communicate. This is the domain description from Bridges. And then right under that, you have all of the modules in Northstar that target at least one standard from that particular domain. So as you can see here, you have communicate effectively, communicate effectively. These first four target communicate effectively. Then you have make voice and video calls for supporting K to 12 distance learning and so on and so forth. This is a kind of a general idea for where you could more or less frame these what you call like support these standards. But again, once you go into if you wanted to see this in North Star, you do need to have an account in North Star to access. So again, if you're not sure if your agency has North Star, you could either send me an email or you could check with your administrator. There might be a North Star admin that would need to give you an account in order for you to access. But this will take you to the North Star online learning portion of the module. Just looking for context. And this is the only one that requires a sign-in because, again, this is a subscription one. If it's Google or Dart, it just takes you to those particular sections without the need for without needing to sign in, right? They're not required. And right under that, you have that spectrum again. But in this case, it's applying it to North Star. So if your learner is a beginner digital literacy learner, then these are some recommendations that we share here as to what you can do with learners, or if you need to go to the previous curriculum, which will be DART. You have your experienced digital literacy. Then we recommend, what modules you could start or what options, what features you could use from North Star. And if it's proficient, again, we'll do the same way, the same thing, and then we kind of start to gear into the next curricula option for you. For each domain, you'll have a list of different lessons that align. So basic computer skills is going to show up in multiple domains, but they will target different standards. from that framework. Like using email showed up again here, and it was under communication as well. Now, oh, sorry, I froze for a second. Okay. For every page, we have our, reach out. If you have a question with tech support, feel free to use this. It's free. There's no cost for you. We are here to please and well, we aim to please, but we're here to support. Okay. So just feel free to reach out and we'll if there's something that's not there, we could sort it out. We could talk it through. We meet one-on-one with a program, or we even meet at the agency level as well if we're trying to figure out or just kind of giving out some strategies and things like that. We have two options that you can do. If you already are using a curriculum, what we would like to ask is take a look using the link that I shared in the screen. Take a look at the curricula on the one that you're currently using and see what that looks like. What areas do you like to support your learners and see what's available there. The other option is we have a where to begin choosing your curriculum. And this guide asks you or goes through 5 different steps to show you. Let me scroll in a little bit. And asks a few questions. So in this case, let's say step 1 is the CASA score. If your learner has a reading score of 211 or higher, if it's a yes, then you could scroll down. If it's a no, you can look to your right. And then on your right, you're going to say, okay, it's going to start you with Dark Curriculum. There's a list of lessons. There's links here that you could work on. North Star actually has a phone keyboard basics and logging in assessment that they added that actually aligns to the Dark Curriculum. So that could be like your final assessment before moving them on to North Star, let's say. If you had said yes, then you have device experience. That's your second question. Has some experience using a computer, tablet, or smartphone? If it's a yes, go to step 3. If it's a no, go to the right. And then again, it'll walk you through all the way up to 5. If your learner reaches 4 or 5, then they're ready to work into our higher, more applied digital literacy practice and resources through Google. So again, it's going from that beginner and moving into that more advanced. So I'm going to share both links. I'm going to open this for questions if you have any questions. I'm going to share this link here. You can take a look. If you scroll all the way to the bottom, that's where you're going to see the choosing your curriculum. So this could be like a self-assessment. I'm teaching my learners this, but you're answering the questions and see, maybe you need to go a little lower, maybe you could go a little higher, that kind of thing. Any questions?
Okay, I guess I'll say something. Um, I kind of lost what I was going to say now. Okay, so for me, I'm a digital navigator. I'm, kind of the first year they're doing it almost full time, and I'm trying to handle like the entire school. So it's very hard to think like each student, individual students and their plans. So I guess I'm thinking how it would be better to, I guess, integrate, of course, the multiple levels into one class.
Okay, great question. So if we're looking at, let's say, what curriculum do you use?
I'm not using any of them right now.
Not really. Okay.
We
So
have North
let's
Star. Yeah, we've done some of that, but
okay. So let's say you're using North Star, right? One of the things that we recommend is to, try the assessment. So North Star has reports that you could kind of like general, like classroom reports that you could determine what skills students are struggling the most with. And then based on that, you could do if you're having multi-level learners. Um, I didn't use North Star at the time because I didn't have access to North Star, but I would usually group them in small groups. So based using that report, then if there were students that were struggling with trying to think of an example from that report. Um, like pop-up windows, let's say, I might have like a mini lesson from there. The other portion that I didn't talk about, when you click on the domain itself, this takes you to the open educational resource from Bridges. And under the skills, you have the different standards. So if, let's say, we're looking at, I'm trying to, you know what? Let me just to go back to what I was saying. I said I was like pop-up windows, let's say. So that's basic computer skills. I'm going to go to essential foundations because that's like your foundation digital literacy. And then I'm going to go to understand the internet, let's say. When I go here, in addition to all the different resources you have, there are a list of different open educational resources that are aligned to that particular standard that you selected. And you could search for a different, let's say if it's a video that you're looking for, if it's a different assessment, because let's say it was too advanced for North Star was too advanced for some of the learners, you're looking for something more basic. If you're looking for a different type of lesson, that would come up. And then that would allow for some of that, maybe not necessarily one-on-one. Oh, yes, yes, I can show again. Yep, I'll do that in a second. Um, maybe so. Let's say I'm gonna click downloading and uploading. I know that's not what we were talking about, but this is a GCF learning resource. So then this will take me to a reading on this in this particular case. But if there's a specific resource that you're looking for or format, let me close out. If I go up here, you have formats here. You have the resource. So if you have a specific resource that you like, you could do digital learn, basic computer skills. But format here, if I wanted a video, then I could click video, let's say, and then I only see the videos. So that way you're kind of limiting to what your format that you're looking for versus everything that they have. And that would be one way to do it. Um, did that answer the question?
Yeah, that was very helpful. Thank you.
What was that? Sorry.
I'm sorry. I have a jolly answer. Yes, I think that was helpful. Thank you.
Oh, okay. You're welcome. So to get back to this, right? Let me close these. The way we would recommend, right? Let me go back. Let me go back. I'm gonna click on a different one so you could see this in a different islands. So we're gonna click on Dart. Here we have 7 of them. I'm gonna click on privacy and security as our example. And then this title here, we might need to make this a little bit more specific, right? But you click on the title of the domain, that's going to open the Bridges alignment to like all the open educational resources that they have. So you click on skills, and here you have the list of different standards. You could pick any of these, and then from there, you'll have access to your online resources. We need to update all of these. Will show you like if it's GCF, it's whatever that publisher is. I just need to I need to update my computer so it doesn't show up. So you have Google account here, launch activity, and then here's like a whole module for it. Oh, yes, yes, definitely. Okay, let me go slower. Okay, so the first thing is are you already on a curriculum? Okay, Dart. So if you go to Dart on any one that you pick under the alignment, you're gonna have the title right here at the top. Gonna make a little like click here for open educational resources. So that way it's easier to find. But you're gonna click on this title or any title that you picked from whichever one. So if I click on mobile, it'll be the same thing. So when I click on it, it's going to open in a different tab the open educational resources under bridges. So from there, you go on to skills. And then you select okay, there you go. Yeah. There is a different way to look through this if you go like through the main page, but then you see everything from every domain, and then you kind of need to filter the same way as oh, I clicked on one that doesn't have anything. Interesting. Okay. So I did mobile 3, used financial tools securely, and then I have in this case there's only 5 and they're all from GCF learning. So they have like an online money tips, and then you have some topics here. Online banking 101. If I launch the activity, then you have like some points here to talk about. There's some people that use AI to kind of further develop some of these like more practice and that kind of thing as well. So our intention with, let me go back to this. Where is it? On the goal of this presentation, sorry, lost my train of thought for a second, is to introduce you to the digital literacy curricula, right? We're just giving you a quick overview of how do we access this resource that's available for you. However, in the next 3 weeks, one for each week, we are going to go over a little bit more in depth with Dart curriculum, North Star Digital Literacy, and Google Applied Digital Skills, looking into this approach and how would you use these these curricula that's available for you, but also how would you support your learners as you go. Um, I said that I was going to put that in the chat. Let me. Oh wait, the website's already here. 1 second. Let me pull that for you, guys. Any additional questions that you might have regarding this digital literacy curricula here? Here is the registration for the sessions here. Our next one is Introduction to Dart curriculum, which is here, which is on the 21st. Then the 28th, we have North Star, and February 4th, we have Google as well. Thank you very much. We're here to help. We have a QR code here. You are going to receive the slides, and you're also going to receive the resources for the slides and the recording of this presentation. If you need further support, if you have additional questions, you want to see how this looks like at your agency, if you have specific factors that you're looking forward to get additional support or help with alignment, you could schedule a tech implementation and support session with us, totally free. You get 30 minutes, 30-minute session, up to a 30-minute, or if you need something a little longer, and then we could talk a little bit about more on the needs on digital literacy curricula, if you're looking at DART, North Star, or anything with digital literacy.